Hello, it's Designed by Raz, and today we're going to be going through a walkthrough of the basics of creating clothing mock-up designs. There is multiple aspects to this video. There's going to be multiple more videos to come that are going to go more in depth on the clothing design process and how to completely formulate a complete mock-up pack for yourself that you're then going to be able to send over to a manufacturer. But today is a basic step-by-step tutorial, certain aspects, the design software, certain points of clothing design. So let's get straight into what design software you should use. Now for the design software, today we're going to be using Adobe. That's what I'm going to be using my example on today, and it is the market standard for designing in general. It is probably one of the best for designing mockups. Now you can use Photoshop, though as you can see it is said not advised. Now this is due to the lack of skills that it has for actually using mockups themselves. Now there is a lot of aspects of Adobe that cater to clothing design that you can then render to your advantage that Photoshop does not have, and we can go over those later on in the video. Then you obviously have Photopea, the free alternative to Adobe Illustrator. Not the worst at all if you cannot afford or do not want to purchase Adobe Illustrator. Photopea is a great alternative and you can get the same things done. Now you've got Affinity Design. Actually, one thing to mention about Photopea is obviously not as good as Adobe because Adobe is paid, but it will allow you to create your mockups and get them sent over to a manufacturer with no issue. There is just less interesting parts about it. And then you've got Affinity Design that is not available on PC. Now this is something that you want to use if you are that hardcore designer and you want to create things on the go. You'll be able to do it using Affinity, but as stated, it is not available on PC. Now we're going to be using Adobe today, so let's get straight into the video. Now, once you've decided on the software that you're going to be using to create your designs, we're using Adobe Illustrator as you can see today. So all you want to do to create the design file is press New File. You're then going to choose the width and the height of your specific artboard. I'm using my custom 16,000 by 10,000. You can also use this for a large artboard. Press Create. Simply open up the artboard, go straight to File, Document Setup, and this is going to allow us to change the color. Now you need to click Simulate Colored Paper. You can then add custom colors. So say you want to change it dark, add custom color. It will then go there. Press OK. Go on to the second one. Press OK. Then press OK again. Simply zoom in, and then there we go. We have our custom artboard color now active. Now the remaining steps of the process is the mockups themselves. If you previously do not have any mockups available to hand, I am selling a complete vector mockup pack which we're going to be using today. Now when you open it directly from the download, this is what you're going to see. So we're going to go through and find the designs that we want. Now once you have the actual mock-up designs inside of your artboard, what we're going to go over now is the actual specific tools that are going to help you to create the mock-ups that you want. Now the first tool we're going to talk about is the direct selection tool. Now this tool is going to allow you to select specific parts of your mock-up to edit manually. So rather than the general selection tool, which is you'll hold the mock-up and it'll participate the whole part of the design, with the general selection tool, you simply hover over it and it will select the specific area of the mockup. So say for this hoodie, if you are editing the actual hood itself and you want to add let's say a dark blue to the front, and then you want let's go with the more apparent possibility. You have a light blue at the front and you want a darker, more contrasting color at the back. You're going to be able to do that directly, but if you were only selecting a specific part of it, you'd have to have the whole color. So now the specific mockups we're using are quite detailed, so they do have these outlines above the previous outlines that are already set, and I put a blue in there so you can easily see, but you can obviously then match it up so it completely connects. So So as you can see, when you just directly select it, you can cover the whole mockup. Now, because we're going to actually be using red for the whole of this mockup, we're just going to be selecting this and turning that to a lighter brown, lighter grey colour. Now, another tool that is used by quite a lot of different brands when they're creating their base mockups is the Magic Wand tool. Now, this has a decent amount of properties that you're able to use, but one that's very simple is you're able to press your actual mockup, press recolor, and you're able to move the little cursor inside of all colors about and get completely different colored designs. So say you're looking to create 5 or 6 different colors, you're then going to be able to actually choose them manually and very fast. So you're going to be able to get a good idea of what sort of color you're going to actually want for your mockups. Now we're going to actually press reset and stick with the original red that we actually chose. Now another really cool tool is actually the warp tool. Now I'm not going to be doing it on the hoodie that we're looking at today because I just don't feel like it's necessary on the hoodie itself, but we're going to be looking at it on this pre-designed just quick colored mockup. Now basically what you do is you pull it onto a path and you just pull. So what it does is it allows you to actually move the lines that are already on the mockup down. Now really quick, you can easily create eye holes, so essentially for maybe a balaclava, which we do have inside of our mockup pack here. You're going to be able to change the actual size of the eye holes themselves and create a more realistic look. Now every path will connect to it, so you can see that the actual lines are staying connected to the design itself, so they are not being overlapped. Now you can pull it in, create different patterns on your pieces of clothing themselves, and it allows for a little bit more customization, and it allows for an easier way to do it rather than trying to create it manually. Now you can also pull in, so you can then create a ribbed sort of effect on a piece of clothing that you may not be able to actually demonstrate very easily otherwise. Now a lot of the stipulation with this tool is that you're not able to mirror it, but essentially what you want to do is you just want to go, so essentially if we want to mirror this one, we'd go like this, we'd choose our direct selection tool, we would go transform, reflect. Now what you want to do is just copy that, return its previous space, press paste. You're going to then have your mockup on the screen. Directly select the previous, and then you have a directly mirrored image of your mockup. Now you can then always change the path on the outside to fit that. So that is that. Now the next tool that we're going to be using on our mockup today is the twirl tool. So if you want to create a distressed look on, say, the underside of your mockup on your hoodie, you can go like that. It's going to do this sort of thing, but essentially you want to do it lighter. So me going like that, it holds it and it twirls it. You see? But if you want to just press it very slightly, it's going to create a more sort of distressed look. You can go. Now another tool that you could use is the pencil tool. Now this essentially allows you to just write lines, so like that, and it will then turn into a line itself. So you can then put something on your mockup if you wanted to. You know, maybe you were looking to add some lines to the side. You're going to then have to get it straight, but you're going to be able to do that. There's other tools that will allow you to do that, and there's tutorials out there that will show you how to do that. You know, this one looks straight. Actually, my apologies, it will go immediately straight if you are as close to straight as possible. You know, if you're like this, it's not going to be straight, but if you're going like that, it's going to hold the line and it's going to act as straight. So you're going to then be able to do that and add things onto your mockups that way. Now a simpler way to do that is the arc tool. If you're looking to essentially put something on your hoodie, maybe a line like that, you can have that in. Obviously then you can go to transform
reflect, and then you can be able to then put that on the opposing side as well. Make sure to remember to just copy that before you reflect it. So copy, arrange, transform, reflect, okay, pull across, get that on, paste, original, find the original area, and you have it on the design. Now the lasso tool allows you to just quickly highlight pieces of your design. So essentially, if you wanted to do the hood, there we go, simply pull it through where you want it to go, and it's then going to select it for you. Very, very simple. Now of course you cannot go in and select specific parts. Sometimes it's going to be a bit random, apart from if you go into the actual mockup itself. Now sometimes it might capture the whole mockup, but in general it won't. Now for adding graphics onto the mockup itself, you can have PNG or vector mockup graphics. So essentially how to figure that out is if you zoom in, does it look pixelated or does it stay the exact same? Now as you can see with this one, it goes pixelated, so there is a way to change that. So you want to select the file, the photo that you want to change. You're going to go down to the middle right of the screen, essentially press image trace. You will then be caught with a white background, but then you can use your direct selection tool to remove that. So now we're going to be adding it on to the mockup itself. Now essentially this is as easy as stated. You can just put it directly onto the mockup. Now I don't actually like the design itself, but that's not the matter of the video, so we're not going to be worrying too much about it. So we're going to directly use a piece of Arab text, as it's just simple, plain and easy to use. Now what we're going to do here is we are going to take this off. Now if you have the bottoms and you want the actual text to go beneath them, what you want to do is you want to scale it to where you want to put it, take it to the side, direct selection every single time. So you just want to then go back into your layers, find the specific layer itself, arrange, bring front, and it's going to then change that. So that's not the biggest issue itself, but for this design we want the logo to be on the side. Now it's of course understood that there may be different aspects to certain different colors in your mockups, and this is not the best way to change the colors themselves, but if it gives you a quick overview of what you want to do, or maybe the actual mockup of the final design that you're thinking about, it's a very good way to do it, and it definitely helps a lot when trying to speed design things. Maybe you've got something down in a notebook and you then want to create it to then edit later and make proper. You can do this and get all the different colors. If you see a color you like, you can then input it and quickly recolor it, and be at the same point. Now a quick overview of some other aspects of designing in Adobe. Essentially you could input yourself a picture. So what you see here is the fill is actually one of these two. Now what it does is it allows you to offset the actual design itself. So if you're going like this, you can see it's moving around the picture. You're then able to input a picture into Adobe, use it as that, and then clip it over the top, essentially how we did the DBRZ logo earlier. Now same with this one here, it's the same thing. So you can use specific parts of that. Essentially, if you maybe wanted to have part of the leg, you can see here that we did use part of the leg with those different colors, and then you can change parts of it around as well, and basically do whatever you like within the reason of course, using the software itself. There's a very advanced guides out there on how to use specific aspects of it that go into like half an hour and an hour detail on maybe just a clipping mask, how to use it correctly, all of these. There's lots of information out there, and when you pair it with a really good pack of mock-ups, you're able to get a really good result for your brand and for your designing, and then for your essentially your final piece that you're going to be sending over to the manufacturer. Now, inside of our mock-up pack, we have hoodies, we have jeans and joggers, we have jackets, we have t-shirts and shirts, we have socks, we have bags, we have patches that will then be able to be put on t-shirts, hoodies, joggers, anything. We have a wider range of zips, we have jumpers and jackets, we have balaclavas, and we have vests, and we have shorts. Now, this is a extensive pack. You're likely not going to be using most of it, especially if you're starting your brand, but you're going to be able to use most of the assets to then create the piece that you want and then move forward in the design process. Now, when you purchase this pack, you do get a free manufacturer tech pack included. You do get the tech pack included with the purchase.